Erlang and Elixir are not, as you conventionally would understand them, typed languages. There's no built-in support in the compiler or in the language for creating types. Well, or is there? Well, actually there is. You can do a couple things. So in Elixir, you can use structs of various forms as types, and that really works very well. But you can also use what we refer to as tuple types or tuple types. So what does that mean? Let's say you have a user ID in your application. It can look like this. It can be an integer, maybe it's a GUID like this one, and it's floating around. It's floating, being passed around your application. The problem is, if it's a GUID like this one, it's a string or a binary, depending on how you want to think of it. But it's just a sequence of characters. So you might have user IDs, item IDs, other IDs, lots of different IDs floating around your application. And the problem is, it's just a bunch of characters. Your application can't tell it from any other bunch of characters. What you can do is create a tuple type. A tuple type would look like this. We have the first element would be an atom, in this case, user ID. And the second element would be your tuple. Now, what's the advantage of that? Well, there are a couple of advantages. First of all, if you print it in your logs, you'd see user ID and things. You'd know what it is. Second of all, in your function head, you can pattern match on it so that if you try to pass a store ID to a function that expects a user ID, you'll get a bad match error. And of course, finally, dialyzer can also examine it. So if you try to, again, pass a store ID to something that expects a user ID, or a user ID expects a store ID, your code will be rejected by dialyzer, and then you can try to figure out what went wrong and fix it. So that has been called tuple types, or tuple types. It's fairly simple. It's a very easy concept to grasp, but it lets you create some expressiveness into the language that you might not have otherwise. It also, of course, documents what your intent is so that if you see a user ID, you know it's a user ID. I recommend using tuple types a lot. I use them all over the place. They don't take up much extra space. So an atom is basically gets converted to a 32-bit integer in the atoms table. So they don't take up much space like that. And it does provide you some additional safety. So that is tuple types. If this was interesting, please like and subscribe below. You can also find a link to a Google form that lets you suggest other topics. And you can find me on Twitter @zkessis.